Okay. You know what that means. The lights, camera, action. It's Friday night, 6 p.m. Central Time for all my worldwide people. And this is episode 11 of the Crypto Dog Pound Unleashed. You know we back. It's Blockchain Dame. We almost at like 1K subscribers right now on YouTube. So thank y'all for listening. And this is gonna be a great episode as usual. I have my crew with me. We got Clay, we got Wolf. Blues, he's out today. Man, you know how he rocks. He just usually pops in. So maybe we'll be seeing him. But the most important part of this episode today, as it is with all of our episodes, is our special guest. And today we have a Dog's Pounds on. Let me get another bark for that one. Let me get some more barks for that one. We have my guy, Shitcoin Sherpa, on here. What's up, Shitcoin Sherpa, man? What's going down, bro?
Hey, how's it going, Dame?
You know me, man. It's every other Friday. I'm just over here sipping on some kind of alcoholic beverage and ready to talk shit. So yeah, man. so this is this is a little twist in our show because usually we have guests. We have a lot of great. The last 10 episodes we had some very great guests. Thank y'all again for coming out. But what's a little bit different about this one is you're first of all you're actually a contributor to the Dog Pound, and you have a slightly different approach of how you I want to say analyze stuff in this crypto space. You are I know you as, and I think a lot of other people in the pound know you as a great FA fundamental analysis guy. So how did you start off with this whole crypto thing, and how was that particular space in this space like your passion, like research, FA, all of that? How did you build on that?
I started back around July of last year, and I pretty much hooked up with the Dog Pound as soon as they started in the Slack chat days.
Hell yeah,
And
you're a crypto, you're a Dog Pound OG, bro.
yeah, and I just kind of gravitated towards reading white papers, and we were just having such an ICO boom at the time. I mean, it was just kind of fun checking out all the different scam coins that were popping up and just seeing the obvious stuff. Their LinkedIn pages and checking everything out. And I mean, I don't know. I'm a little bit of a stalker, I guess, because I mean, I'll check their LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever, and try to go into the team. And, some of the stuff is just really blatant, but it's like the more you dig, the worse problems there are with like 90% of coins.
So out of all of them, do you have like a routine, like what is your process of like going? How do you pick which one? Like, what do you go by word of mouth? Do you have like special places that you like to go to see what's your next project or what?
Usually I'll ask in the pound for suggestions, but if I don't have any of that, then I'll go check out, ICOs or anything that's coming up. And I mean, really I'm looking for stuff that's not the same coin done 1,000 times over that, we've already seen.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So no, what were you about to say? Finish.
I was just gonna say, and I mean, if I find one of those, then I'll just dig into the white paper and go from there, researching the team and everything.
Yeah. So if the people don't know, we have within the pound, in in the collection of all of the other great channels that we have in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, go check that out, get you signed up and everything. But you have kind of like, and you kind of took it over, bro. You kind of have like your own little space, your own little channel in the Discord, strictly for FA base. And if anybody wants to go back and see that, you can see big long write-ups from Sherp with really detailed FA. How do you think it came that you were the guy that just took over that space? Because I think everybody saw it, and I think people saw your analysis, and they were like, "Oh shit, I can't fuck with that. I'm gonna just let them have it." Like,
That's pretty much it, man. I mean, it's just so tedious reading like a 20-page white paper just to determine that something's a pile of crap. And I mean, then imagine doing that like 100 times. So
Do you ever
wow, that's
do you ever just kind of like read like the first couple of pages like that's enough?
Yeah, with a lot of them these days. I mean, you get a lot that are just this copy pasted shit where they're just telling you about blockchain technology as if we're not all, familiar with it at this point.
Speaking of copy paste, like the daddy and S&M white paper shit, like that shit was a whole fiasco. I don't know, y'all remember that, right?
Oh yeah. And I mean, that was one
Yeah.
of the first red flags for that project, and I mean, it's gone places since then.
Yeah, right.
I got a question for you.
With the oh yeah, go ahead.
So I was just going to ask. I mean, obviously, back in the ICO craze. So I mean, I'm similar to you in the sense that like I was a very big fan of FA, especially because it sort of tied in with my background a little bit more. I mean, I would come across projects that I would look at and go, from a fundamental point of view, this shit's going to pump when it hits an exchange, but it's an absolute garbage project. I mean, how many real quality projects would you say that you came across? Ones that you go, you know what, like this shit has a future or potentially has a future within this space?
I mean, maybe a half dozen, maybe a dozen.
Yep. It's not a lot, right? It's not
no.
as much. And I guess like that's the thing as well, is that, people sort of forget that these are companies, right? So, I mean, the team's such an important part. And when you start looking at the team, sometimes you just go, where the fuck did you guys come from? Like who thought it would be a good idea for you guys to run a company?
Right. I mean, you got these people coming out of 4chan or wherever the hell, and when they're coming up with projects and everything, and multi-billion-dollar market caps during the bull run. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, True. and that's kind of one of the other things. My fault. That's kind of one of the other things that I wanted to ask you. Like, it seems obviously since you started back in July, like the game has changed so much in the crypto space, and even I was deep into like FA and fundamental analysis. I was reading white papers and all that stuff, but it seems like, of course, over this past year, no matter how good a coin may seem, it really just doesn't have an effect. I remember that people used to constantly look at certain roadmaps, points, and updates on crypto market cap and all of that stuff. And usually when everything was bullish, some of those events would usually cause spikes. Well, now we've seen those diminished over time, and it seems like TA has really taken over in this space in terms of like what's the next coin to trade, right? So how do you adapt to that? That was one of my questions. So I'm gonna just already ask it right now. So since you're strongly FA based, whatever, do you classify yourself as a trader or an investor?
I mean, I like trading as much as the next guy, and I mean, I like the researching part of it, but the trading part is what we're all here for at the end of the day. I mean, that's what you have fun at. But I mean, exactly. I can adapt that a little bit. There's tools out there where you can check out stuff like who's still working, who's got good 30-day dev activity, who's got daily active addresses, and, take that against market cap and everything else. You can still trade from a fundamental standpoint on a lot of these coins. It's still, we're going to be waiting for a bull run before any of it really matters, but you can catch some lows right now on a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. So so for the people that's listening, what are some of your favorite like tools and resources that you use to check? Like, you want to name drop some stuff?
Yeah, I like Sandbase has a site, santiment.net, and they've got just some of the best information on most of these coins. You can check out what the ROI has been since the ICO on most of the coins. You can check out dev activity, how much Ethereum they've spent, how many active addresses. I mean, it's an invaluable resource, and you can see that like some really surprising projects are still putting in work.
Wow. Yeah, so Sandbase, right? Who was that? Was that Clay or Wolf that had a question? I think I kind of interrupted Wolf. You, dude. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest though, Dame. I've completely forgotten what the question was.
That's usually how it goes. Yeah, we all got short-term memory.
I just remembered it.
All right, there we go.
So obviously with the whole technical analysis side of things, it becomes really clear on the charts. Well, it should become very clear on the charts when to get out of a position, right? So my question to you then, Sherp, would be, did you manage to exit most of your positions before the crash came in, before the bear market kicked off?
Yeah, luckily I didn't have a whole lot in whenever the bear market hit, so more it was a matter of just putting fiat in whenever I saw a good low.
Mm-hmm. And do you have sort of set guidelines in place, as part of your process when to take profits out? Or is it more just sort of get it in there and sort of ride it as high as you can? Or do you just go, right, these are my key take profit levels?
Yeah, usually I like to ride it as high as I can, but I've got just a handful of coins that I really watch, and so whenever I see a low on them, I like to get in. Grossel coins have actually been pretty reliable for me. Anytime it's been below 7,000, I hop in there, and it's been pretty good.
And see, I like that because that's a slightly different approach because I think with so many coins in the space and so many projects, I think people get caught up on like, man, I want to catch everything that's moving, or I want to catch as most moving as I can. But you just said that you eye a certain number of coins, and then you trade based on the lows of that little group that you monitor. And I think that could be very profitable as well, and that can reduce a lot of stress, right? Because it kind of just lets you zone in on a certain key area.
Yeah, that's it exactly for me. I mean, I'm most comfortable holding a coin that I know about, and so the handful that I'm watching, I know their price levels, I know about the fundamentals of the coin, so I'm not super nervous or, ready to dump at any point.
Yeah, most def.
So, I was going to say,
you got a couple? No,
what was your strong questions here, man? Like, just tell me to shut up if you need to tell me to shut up. What was your big play from last year? Like, what was the one that you just, like, you put money in and then you were just sitting there going, what the fuck, man? Who would ever have thought it got this high?
Really, honestly, my biggest one was on probably SafeX, which, was an absolute shit coin, but the Bitrex delisting, it got just absurdly low on the Bitrex delisting, and whenever it finally popped on Trade Satoshi, they had it up around 400 Satoshis at one point after buying around 80.
Okay, and so when Bitrex delisted it, what was it from a fundamental point of view that you said, you know what, this is not going anywhere?
I just kind of knew that it was going to have a dead cat bounce at some point. The whole market was, really pumping at that point, and, it was just absurdly low from being delisted, where it had been trading like 300, a week or two before.
Okay, interesting. And what do you got your eye on now?
I don't think he had it. He said, "What you got your eye on right now?"
Oh yeah, I didn't catch that. Right now I've just really been watching ARK a lot. I've been watching the lows on Cardano, a lot of stuff like that. Funfair, a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, I could tell that. Yeah, so coming from you, I could see why you would be watching those, because those are some pretty strong FA based coins, right? Funfair with the whole gambling thing. What did you say? Cardano. We already know why Cardano. And then what else did you say? You said one more. ARK. Now I don't know too much about ARK. What? Just so people, for people who don't know, what do you like so much about ARK?
ARK, they've got the delegated proof of stake, and that keeps a lot of tokens off exchange because you have a lot voting for the delegates and a lot holding in the wallets. But ARK has really kept just kind of consistent levels and everything. Whenever it's dropped below 10K, it comes back pretty quick. And it's really similar to a Chainlink, what they're trying to do. And it's an interesting project, but it's been crazy low since the bear market hit.
Which could be a good thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because it was trading around like what 46 K, during the bull market, and it's like what 9, 10,000 regularly now.
Wow.
I could.
Yeah, so kind of pretty much is everything, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
what about your thoughts on Raven? So I know that's a big one, and I know that's one that, from a fundamental point of view, a lot of people are holding pretty heavy bags, thinking that this can be the next big one. What are your thoughts?
I mean, maybe. I never got into Raven that much. I mean, a lot of people are just going crazy about it, and it's hard for me to get into something whenever the hype is so strong.
True.
What is the big deal about Raven? Because I'm clearly out of the fucking loop on that one. I just know that it got listed and something happened. Like, what's so good about that?
I think the biggest thing that everyone's like the hype's all about is that it was no pre-mine, proof of work. It's, you know what I mean, like, as opposed to, I think it was a breath of fresh air compared to all these other projects that were coming out. The ICOs, the insanely large pre-mines. So everyone just jumped on it, and shit has done really well so far. But yeah, I mean, I don't know a great deal about it. I've just sort of rode that hype a little bit, made a little bit of profits off it, and I'm happy with that.
That's what's up. Well, so throughout all of these like white papers that you go through, or throughout just the research that you do in general, like what are some top red flags that whenever you're reading over it or whenever you see it, you just be like, I don't know about that.
I mean, some of it you got to go really into, like the GitHub and everything. If they're doing a lot of forks and they're not pushing their own commits on stuff, that's kind of an issue. If they've got a lot of stuff that's just, like I said earlier, just basic stuff about blockchain. If they've got 5 or 10 pages of that crap, I mean, that's kind of a red flag. Whenever team members don't list the project on their LinkedIn, that's kind of a red flag for me if you see that with the majority of the team members.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could mean they're most likely just like name dropping and shit, right? Like
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You had a lot of projects too that would just throw people up there, thinking that nobody's going to back check them on it. Maybe the person's not even actually working for them.
What about Floyd Mayweather and DJ Khaled?
Oh my God, that's exactly what I was about to say. I was just like, you might want to start checking some of the celebrity lists on these projects before you get into them, because they cracking down hard as fuck on them now.
In saying that, well, I'm not 100% too sure, but they got stung for promoting that coin, Centra or whatever it was. Can something like that happen to influencers on Twitter or like promoters on Twitter?
I mean, I'm sure it's going to happen eventually. The SEC is just going to get more and more in our business as things go on.
Yeah, and I just saw what's his name make a post about that. I saw Belina make a post, because apparently after that whole crackdown, everybody was coming after him saying, "Oh, you're next," but he clearly cleared all that shit up. Which is what I would say once again. Hey man, stop trying to find a chink in that man's armor, because it seemed like he got all of his traces well backed up. He said he'd been working with people from years. I mean, for a while, and they've been talking to the SEC, so he got it cleared up. Y'all just make sure that y'all ain't getting to no shit that y'all don't need to be in before the SEC come after your ass. While you worried about other people. But anyway, so let's keep it moving. So I got like I said, I had some pretty good questions for you. What I think. We already talked about what are some of your favorite coins. We already talked about what is the process or where you start. Are there other like popular guys in the space that are kind of similar to you that you kind of collectively look at in a sense to be like, okay, if he's looking at it, maybe I should probably take a look at it or something. Who are some of your favorite people in the space?
I've got a couple. I mean, of guys that I've just started looking at recently. Florian, his fundamental skills are just insane. I mean, it's not a whole lot of guys I see in the space who do like these long form write-ups, but it's not a lot of guys posting, straight up reviews of coins anymore either, because, a lot of stuff's just died down. It's just all about TA now, like you said.
I know. Like you look at the chart for fun, and that is like beat down kind of thing. Do you reckon any like they'll have any like news in the pipe works that could potentially actually get it off the floor? Like it's down at like 125 sats at the moment.
They're having some issues, and I mean, I like to, subscribe to the subreddits for a lot of these coins, so you can just see, what the holders are saying. And it's like apparently they've only had 100 active users in the 2 months that their first casino using the platform has been open.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so it's not great.
What's the common thing that you see in most of these coins that are successful? Like, is it such as things like what space they're trying to take over within the crypto space, like real estate or like tokenization of things, or just like gambling? What's some of the common things that you see for success in these coins as you go on?
I mean, really, it's just about staying power at this point. I mean, what I'm looking for most is, who's still putting in a lot of dev activity right now, whenever the bear markets hit, whenever their Ethereum's worth, a tenth of what it was at ICO. Who's still plugging along. I mean, you're seeing so many companies kind of dropping back or dropping out. Steam just fired, 70% of their workforce the other day.
Wow. See, only you would know something like that, sure. See, that's how do you where did you find that out at? Like, where?
I've got a news site that kind of aggregates all the different crypto news. I'll post that in the YouTube.
There we go.
I just check this stuff out constantly. I'm checking that constantly, checking the subreddits constantly, and just seeing what's coming up about all these coins, seeing, who's dying, because really we need about, another 1,500 of them to die.
Yeah, right. I've been noticing that too. So I think another good question, and this is going coin specific again, and I've been seeing a lot of talks over it the last week as it surpassed a certain coin in market cap. FA wise, Ripple versus Ethereum. That's a legit question these days, right? Am I right or what?
I mean, yeah. Ripple's just, I mean, it's Ripple, man. It's the worst coin out there. It's the most centralized piece of dog crap on the market. And they can just keep inflating it, and it's just, I don't know. I don't want to hear about Ripple. I'd rather hear about Stellar, all day long versus Ripple.
Yes.
So what you're saying is, FA wise, you think XLM is going in the long run, because we all know that this whole thing right now is a marathon, not a race, right? We all know that. So you saying that and you're saying that long run XLM Stellar could and I see that too as well. I like Stellar. I like what they're doing over there. And it's already a top 10, right? It's already a top 10 coin, and I think that it could definitely go up. I mean, not to mention that one of the co-founders of Ripple, he split away to go into exit to lead XLM, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, XLM versus Ripple, it's XLM all day.
So what would be your, like, if you were to explain that to somebody who has no idea, they know what Ripple is, they know what XLM is, what would be your like concise like top 3 points or whatever why XLM over Ripple? I'm with you on it, by the way, but yeah, I just want to
for the silly people like me that don't understand.
I mean, really, with Ripple, it's just no one wants to actually use the coin. You've got, so much hype about the banking crap, but no one wants to use it. With XLM, a lot of their focus, as far as I understand it, has been on like these third world transactions and everything, and being, a transaction mechanism for that third world banking. And that just makes a lot more sense to me than Ripple trying to take over the banking industry, which, I mean, it's just not going to happen, and certainly not with a little shit coin like that.
Makes sense. And what about in terms of decentralization? What's the differences between XLM and Ripple?
I haven't looked hard enough, at how decentralized XLM is. I just know that, Ripple fights back against the centralization claims a lot whenever they're just entirely centralized. And it's just been way overhyped from the beginning, really.
Yeah. So I kind of want to go back to this is gonna be this is fun right here. So let's go back to Ethereum versus EOS.
Oh god, I mean, I've got to give it to Ethereum. Yet again, EOS is just they've had problems from the start. They've been overhyped from the start. People overpaid on them drastically, I feel like. To their credit, they've got a lot of active addresses. They're putting in a lot of work, but I've just still got to give it to Ethereum because you've got so many other devs who are depending on Ethereum and committing to it.
Yeah, and they got Vitalik, right?
Yeah. And I mean, Ethereum, if you look at Ethereum's dev activity 30-day, they've got like 479 commits versus EOS at like 112.
Wow.
It's not even close.
That's some shit. See, that's why you are the genius. See, that's some shit that I would not look at. That's why I need to know this stuff.
Just a question with this, because obviously, like, Ethereum's been like beaten down. I don't know if EOS has as well. But what would it take fundamentally for these coins to do to get the prices right back up? Or is it all just going to have to be TA wise, if that kind of makes sense? Like what? Because obviously in the stock market, if someone releases good news, the coin gets pumping, the stock gets pumping kind of thing. But what would it take for Ethereum? What would they have to release to get prices up again?
Honestly, I don't know. I mean, it's just so pegged to Bitcoin at this point. I think it's all going to be, PA and TA until Bitcoin comes back around. I mean, in the stock market, you've got actual revenue. You've got stuff that you can base everything on. I don't know that we have any companies that are, revenue positive at this point.
Yeah.
Will they ever release their whole, like, their quarterlies or anything like that, you reckon?
I mean, I hope so. I hope that if we're going for transparency and decentralization and all this shit, that they can at least be transparent on that. Because right now, I mean, it's all going to be speculation. That's why TA is going to be great right now, because until we have some actual, solid shit and they're actually producing something, then none of this matters.
Yeah.
So one of the coins that people are like, from an FA point of view, people love and people hate is VeChain. You got thoughts on that? Have you spent much time looking into them?
Yeah, I haven't looked so much at VeChain. I know that they had some issues a little while back with apparently them trying to pay some influencers to downplay their competitors and everything. But, other than that, I haven't dug too deep into it.
It just seems like every day, man, I see posts just coming up, like VeChain are partnered with this company, and the Chinese government, and this and that. But price just does not reflect that one bit. It's just been a downhill for since like last year, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's the case with most of these coins. And I mean, really, until they start showing results, I mean, it's going to stay that way, I think.
Yep.
But what's interesting? On to another project, and I saw a dog tweet about this not too long ago, maybe about an hour ago. BAT, right? Basic attention token. So he showed how it seems like at the moment that BAT could possibly be decoupling from BTC, based on what the charts say. And I know BAT. Whoa, that was scary. And I know BAT And I know Bat. I think that was a good sign that I'm talking about some good shit. Anyway, I know Bat has strong fundamentals with the creators of Firefox and some Java people on there and what they're doing with the whole web browsing and all of that stuff. So in comparison to VeChain and Bat, why do you think Bat is showing so much strength right now based on what you know about Bat?
I mean, Bat, the thing about it is they've been pretty consistent from the start. A lot of people have downloaded Brave and everything, and if you've got
including me, I love it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'm sure you've seen how often they're putting out updates.
All the time.
Yeah, absolutely. All the time. And Bat's got like 1,122 daily active addresses on average for 30 days. I mean, you've got people actually using the token, whether they're, sponsoring their sites with it or what, but it's just, the fundamentals are good. Brendan Eich, like you mentioned, the founder, one of the founders of Firefox, creator of JavaScript, I believe. He's brings a lot to the project, and it's just Brave is a great product, and I think using it for advertising and micropayments and everything is pretty smart.
So I think that kind of relates to, I guess, what we can say, and I know this is a strong point in anyone's fundamental analysis, is the token utility, right? You just mentioned that the way BAT is used, I think that is one of the reasons why it shows great strength. How strong or how much have you seen token utility play a big part in some of these coins' success?
Not a lot. I mean, during the bear market, you saw coins with absolutely no utility pumping and everything, but you're seeing a lot of actual utility now kind of surfacing on some of this stuff. Like Bat's got a decent bit of activity. Storage has a lot of daily activity and everything. So some of these people are actually, using the platforms, using the tokens for their intended utility and not just, dumping them on the exchange.
Yeah. I like that. So by the way, do we have any questions from the audience right now that some people want to ask? I know.
Not yet. I kind of wouldn't mind asking, like, out of the bigger coins, say like the top 20, is there like 5 that you think will make it and 5 that won't, kind of thing? Like over the next 3 to 5 years, would you reckon 5 will there be about 5 or so that will just crash, and will there be 5 still kick it around? Yeah.
So did you say over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah. Do you reckon any of them could like really crash and burn, like Ripple or EOS or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, maybe not EOS. It seems like they've got a good bit of money to burn, but I think Bitcoin SV is in the top 10, for instance.
I just saw that. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The top 10 seems pretty strong. I don't know about XRP. They may be able to hold out 3 to 5 years. Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, I wouldn't think they'll last that long.
And since we're on that's interesting. So since we're on Bitcoin, I think is what maybe could be like the ultimate question of this episode is FA on Bitcoin. Like, what do you think is needed for because everybody has different opinions and everybody has different theories of what's needed to start this next bull run of testing the all-time high. But I always hear people saying that this needs to happen, or it's not happening because of this, or what do you think needs to happen with Bitcoin in order for us to blast back off again?
I mean, I feel like Bitcoin needs to figure out what it is. It seems like it's either trying to be a store of value or it's trying to be a transaction coin. And you know, it's never going to be a great one of both as long as it's trying to do both at the same time. I mean, really, if we all just accept that it's a store of value, you know, then they can just work on that aspect, but they're working on second layer and Lightning Network and everything like that. And it's kind of hard whenever you've got so many second and third generation coins coming out who can do a lot more transactions per second, you know, right out the gate.
So do you think that and the reason why I'm asking is because I just was listening to a lot of people talk about it a couple of days ago. Do you think that Bitcoin is really a store of value? Because a lot of people, even SZ on the last episode, he just strictly pointed at the chart and was like, "This is not. You see this shit? This is not a store of value."
I mean, right now, I don't think that it is. You know, but it can be, and it's been perceived that way in the past. You know, like I said, I think that they're trying to do too much or trying to do, you know, they're trying to go too broad with it. I mean, I think that they really need to just stick with the either, you know, store of value or really just bang it out on the transactions.
And I think a lot of it has to do with how us as the traders and the investors and the whatever the fuck you want to call us in this space. I think it's a lot of how we what we want to see Bitcoin do and how we portray Bitcoin to the public, right? If certain people keep yelling that, hey, it's a store of value, and it clearly isn't when it drops 30s and 40s and 15 and 20% over time, then people are going to look at the space and the people in the space as a joke as well, right? That's what I think. So I think we need to be a little bit more rational, and I think that can help as well, in it going back to where it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just my opinion on that.
We got a question come through. So Ezra Fuller, with all the ICO suing craziness going on right now, are you guys looking more into sectors such as POW and privacy coins for a multi-year time frame? So tying into that, just before you answer that, you saw the what was it, the FBI or something apparently got up and did like a conference or whatever and said tracking Bitcoin's no issue for us, but Monero is giving us a bit of a headache.
Ain't that the whole point of Monero?
That is the whole point. Then the question gets asked, right? Like, why the fuck would the FBI get up and say, yo, Monero is giving us a hard time? Like, doesn't that that's a little bit odd, right? That they would sort of say, put everything into Monero because we can't track that.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's good advice, just in general.
Their problem is good advice.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough. But so, I mean, what are your thoughts on privacy coins and proof of work? Like, is that something that you're, I guess, from a fundamental standpoint, looking to keep in your portfolio for multi-year timeframes?
I mean, always Monero. It's just ridiculously low right now compared to where it was a year ago, you know. I mean, really, I've been looking at a lot of different coins. You know I mentioned in the pound a few of these like Noia and stuff, which really aren't anything right now. But, you know, talking 3 to 5 years out, I'm a lot more interested in those than just proof of work, proof of stake, master nodes, same old shit.
Yeah. One of my, I'm gonna throw a little shill in here, and that also goes into with the question that was just asked. One of my favorite privacy coins, and it actually holds the property of all three. It's a privacy coin, and it's a proof of work and proof of stake. Alco. They have their. First of all, what are your thoughts on Alco? And second, what is, you know, Alco has their own exchange coming out called Bitfinion, right? And of course they have perks they're going to have Alco trading pairs on it, and they're going to allow you to stake your coins on the actual exchange. So what do you think about Alco, and how important or what do you think that something like Bitfinion can do for a coin like Alco or something similar?
I mean, I hadn't looked into Alco specifically. I know that you've been talking about it for
Oh
God
yeah.
months, dude, forever, the pounds.
I love it.
But looking at their GitHub and everything, I mean, they're still working on it and everything. I really like to see some of these up and coming privacy coins and everything. I mean, I always go back to Monero, but whenever you see somebody doing stuff a little bit different, you know, it's really interesting because private transactions are one of the biggest, you know, use cases for the space, really.
Yeah. Yeah. I got another question. So since we are talking about proof of work and mining and all of this other stuff, um, yeah, and I think this is a good not only question about like just like fundamentally, but environmentally. We know I had a talk with one of my guys, Dr. Crypto, at World Crypto Con. Shout out to him. But he was telling about how the Bitcoin mining that in the future is gonna it's gonna consume so much power, and it's not, and we may not be able to, in simple terms, it's gonna fuck a lot of shit up. So he was saying, he kept talking about like how Bitcoin green, it does it has a green footprint, right? Do you think that could, the whole mining thing and the whole energy consumption thing can play could be a blow to Bitcoin in the future? Because obviously nobody gives a fuck about it right now. I mean, I've seen people talk about it, but it's kind of one of those things that it's not a problem till it's really a problem. What do you think about that?
I just saw a report recently that was saying that mining uses about 80% renewables on average. I think that if anything, it's kind of a net positive because you see so many renewables being bought up for mining specifically. And so overall, you know, that money is going into making renewables, you know, cheaper, making solar cheaper, wind cheaper in a lot of these areas because you've got so much of that money pouring into them. So, I mean, I think overall it's a net positive. You're only looking at 20%, you know, using dirty energy anyway.
Okay. Okay. See that once again, that's some shit only you would know. Like, damn, bro. Like, I need to just come to you with all of my questions, bro. I don't know why I haven't been using my resources correctly, but I clearly know that if it was somebody to ask, it would be you. So that's some good shit right there. That's good shit. Um, what else? What else do we got? Y'all got any questions? We over here. This
I'm
is
just sitting
pretty
here just learning, pretty much.
I know, right? This is a pretty informative episode. You know what? It kind of takes a break away from the reason why I'm liking this episode right now is because like we really getting into why a lot of people say that they're in this space, right? We hear a lot of people talk about, oh, I'm in it for the tech and all of this shit. Well, if you're in it for the tech, then you should be on a level like my man Sherp is with the knowledge, because he's really into the shit with the research, and that's why I respect this guy so much. And if I had anybody to ask some questions about certain things, he would be at the top of my list. So, do you do any mining yourself? Do you have any projects with that?
Yeah, I use my just my home computer to do a little bit of BitTube mining. I mean, it
Okay.
actually puts out a little bit. I mean, it's pretty decent for a home miner and everything. And then also, you know, you can be posting videos on there, so it's kind of like mining twice.
Oh wow! And what is that again?
BitTube.
BitTube. What's the ticker for that one?
TUBE.
Oh, I've never heard of it. Have y'all heard of that, Clay?
Yeah, I know ACX uses it, I think. It's just like YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically like YouTube, except viewers are basically mining whenever they're watching videos, and then they get paid a little bit for watching videos, and then the person who posted the video gets paid in their currency for you know, putting the videos up in the first place.
What? How many active users are on that platform?
I don't think it's a lot at this point.
Is
I
it
mean,
gaining
I've been on
traction? Do you
there.
see it?
Yeah, it seems like it's kind of picking up. I mean, their UI has gotten really good recently. Their upload process has gotten a lot smoother. I really like, BitTube in general.
Dude, wow, that's a new one for me. I just wrote that down. I'm gonna check that out. But all right, so yeah, so I know we're talking. I know we've been asking you a million questions. Do you have anything that you would like to talk about on this show, Sherp? Like that you feel like, is there anything that you've been going over the last month, week or so that you'd be like, man, I feel like a lot of people should know about this. What's some important things that you've seen in the space lately that you want to share?
A lot of the same stuff that I've been going over. Just talking about a lot of these projects dropping out and everything. That's been the main thing that I've been watching out for, is just, I want to see a lot of them dry up.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. I think once well, I thought the purge already happened, but it's clearly something that's lingering around, right?
There's a long way to go, I think, with this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's only just started, man.
so so with the there was another, I was looking at some it was some it was a story that had got posted not too long ago with with McAfee and security, and he was saying something about well, first let's touch on that. Um I know a lot of in the space, a lot of the worries is the security, right? Like, can I safely invest in something, or just with the project in general, how secure it is? Because that seems like to be a punchline, or what do you call it? The words that people use, tag words, tagline, whatever the fuck you want to call it. People be like, oh, 100% security, secure. Blockchain is supposed to be based around security, right? So, which coin do you feel like possesses the that utilizes security the best, or that provides the, like a hard shell around it, other than, because we've seen people getting hacked, we've seen all that shit.
I mean, really, most of the problem is still with the user. With most of these coins, a lot of the people getting hacked. It's in Belina and Evernote and shit like that. It's people not using 2FA and all that. But there's, speaking of secure coins, I mean, I wouldn't trust 90% of the altcoins with money right now, just because you see so many of them exit scamming. You see so many of them just going out of business, running out of money. I mean, it's kind of a scary place out there. I was reading something earlier that said that wages for blockchain developers have dropped dramatically because of the bear market.
Well, it seems like they would want to ramp that shit up, right? If they want to.
Yeah, you'd think so, but I mean, it's like, a lot of them, especially who are, maybe still holding Ethereum or sold out on the way down, they've got, a fifth of the money, a tenth of the money that they thought they were going to have. And so they can't afford to pay the devs, nearly as much. So they're cutting staff, they're paying less.
Oh, wow. So based on these, like, what are some of your favorite exchanges? Like, give us some FA on some exchanges. Like, why why do you like, are you just a common the Binance user, KuCoin? Like, what are some of your favorite exchanges?
I mean, during the bull run, I went on pretty much every exchange, but I've kind of stuck with Binance since we hit the bear market for the most part. I don't feel that safe everywhere else. Everywhere's kind of shady at this point. So,
yeah. Do you have a do you invest and trade on a cap basis, like small, large, and middle, whatever?
Yeah, I really prefer small to mid caps. I've tried to stick with that and everything because the ones who still have just a crazy huge cap, there's just not a lot of place for them to go, you know, unless Bitcoin really moves, in which case you're better off just holding Bitcoin.
Yeah, right. I think that's the that's the thing that most people need to realize, that hey man, going all in on alts right now, you might want to just have a little portion of your portfolio in Bitcoin or in fiat right now. Shit.
Yeah, buy more if it goes down a bit more.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So I got another question. So you mentioned that earlier in the episode that you like to try to you tend to shy away, and you like to try to get on to projects before it gets super popping or crazy. So let's just say that you weren't in a coin already. Like, how do you use Twitter sentiment or just like investor sentiment to let's just say that you saw a coin that you're like, man, this seems like a good project, it's at a good price. Well, you know, it's at a decent price right now, but you just see too many of the wrong people. I know you have certain people that when you see say shit, you'd be like, I don't know. So how do you gauge that? Like how do you gauge the sentiment?
I mean, really, you're kind of looking for a negative sentiment whenever you're entering some of these coins. You know, whenever you're seeing, you know, people freaking out and ready to get out of the coin and everything, that's sometimes the best time to get into it.
I know you have. So I know you probably had some coins at the top of your list that you saw people like, man, fuck that, and you already did your research. And you was like, yeah, this is the right time right here. Yeah, man. So do we have any more questions out there?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Pretty much it.
Yeah. So yeah, well, I was gonna ask, since you already know how the market is going right now, and so what do you spend most of your besides FA and all that stuff? What do you spend most of your free time doing outside of crypto? I don't think we ever asked that question to people, right? We always talk about like what do you like to do outside it? For a person that reads through all of these white papers and all of these super technical ass things, yeah, what do you do outside?
I mean, I like to stay busy. I'm pretty involved in like a lot of these private torrent communities and stuff. I like to collect old videos. I've been putting some of those up on the BitTube recently.
Oh damn, that's smart as fuck, bro. Damn.
Yeah, I've got like a lot of uncut MTV from back in the 80s and shit like that. I like really obscure video and shit.
Yeah. That's a different hobby right there. So one more question. So what do you tell? Because I'm assuming that you are a technical person reading through all of these white papers, and I've read through some where they get pretty damn technical. And I'm a computer engineer, so I understand a lot of it, but I've read some white papers, so I've been like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, I have no clue what they're talking about. So for the non-technical person that wants to do research and kind of wants to try to find the next one, what tips do you have for them, like while they're looking through shit like this?
I mean, really, it's just, you know, open 15 or 20 tabs and prepare to sit down for like 10 hours with a white paper. I mean, like Holochain, dude, every paragraph I was having to look up, you know, one term or another, and then read like 4, 5, 6 paragraphs on that thing, and then read 2 more words, look some other shit up. I mean, it gets ridiculous with some of these.
Do you feel like sometimes some of these white papers just throw a bunch of that type of shit in that's just so advanced to where people are just be like, you know what, fuck it. I mean, it sounds good. Or do you think that that's kind of like a strategy, like in sometimes with some of these coins?
Yeah, dude, you throw out some of these people using white papers, and like even Google's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I mean, if it can't find it on a single other web page in the entire fucking internet, then they probably made it up.
Yeah, true. I think I forget. I've read through some shit to where I've literally quit researching this shit because I'm like, you know what, this just seems like too advanced for me. And how important do you think it is from an investor perspective to invest in a coin that you don't truly understand everything about it? Like, have you took that chance? Have you ever taken that chance before where you was like, this seems like it could be a big part of it and I don't really understand it, but I feel like the other things are good to where like what's your tips on that? How often are you comfortable doing that?
I mean, I'll day trade with, the worst shit coins out there sometimes, but if I'm looking to hold for, more than a few hours or whatever, then I really try to stick with stuff that I know.
Yeah, most def. Well, shit, man. That was that. I think I got out a lot of shit that I should have probably asked you before I lost a lot of money. Yeah, but so yeah. Once again, Clay, Wolf, y'all got any other things?
I was speaking to Maine. Obviously, couldn't make it tonight. He just wanted to let everyone know that Bitcoin's going to zero, and they're all going to be poor.
So there's the tip from Maine. So if it bounces, y'all can all flame his Twitter account. I'm pretty sure he'll answer back to most of you guys as well.
Yeah, no, other than that, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, this was, you know what? This, like I said, we usually have about an hour and a half per episode, and right now we're about at the hour mark. But I think this is one of those episodes to, even though it's short, that it's something that everybody should listen to and just get into the mind of a different type of crypto investor / trader, because this shit is important. And a lot of people claim that they're long term. When shit is going all bad, everybody be like, oh man, I'm not really worried right now because long-term type shit. You know what I'm saying? Well, hey, if you thinking like that, you should probably start listening to this guy, Sherp. And that's why I'm glad that we have him in the pound. And so I'm glad that he is on episode 11 of Unleashed. Appreciate that, man. Do you have anything that you're working on right now, special project, or do you have any events that you are attending or whatever that you kind of want to let people know about? This is your chance to get your shill on or whatever.
Nope, just at Shitcoin Chirp on Twitter, and just in the dog pound.
Yep. So once again, for everybody that doesn't know, Sherp is a Dog Pound contributor, and you will find, like I said, he has a whole fucking channel in the Dog Pound in the Discord where he posts all of this shit that he's talking about. And yeah, man, that's just one of the things that why the Dog Pound is so valuable. So with that being said, good talk. I'm about to go to this fucking Christmas party in November because I have to. And once again, thank you for your time, Sherp. Like I said previously in all of the episodes, we ain't paying nobody. They come and they lend their time out the goodness of their hearts, and they spend their valuable time with us. So I appreciate you for being on this show. We are almost at 1K subscribers, like I said at the beginning. So hey, if you listening to this show and you're not subscribing, shame on you, motherfucker. Go click that subscribe button on YouTube. It's on iTunes. Search at Crypto Dog Pound. I am Blockchain Dame, and once again, we got my man Clay, we got my man Wolf, special guest Sherp. Tune in next week for episode 12, and we out, my brother. Appreciate it.
See you guys.
Thanks, man. See you later. Have a good weekend.
Peace.